SEN Live. It's a pleasure to have everybody back here today on the 20th of August, the year of our Lord. I hope everybody is happy. I hope everybody is wonderful. I hope everybody is excited. We have a small but mighty show today. I'm pumped about it. It's always mighty when you got the great RB3 here. So that's first and foremost. Joining us, a little bit of an old school. This isn't even old school schmoes. This is just old school my life. Gotta start with Brett Sheridan, the interviewer extraordinaire.
Man.
And then he was God. How dare he? Yesterday he was on a Twitch stream while we were doing SEN Live. He is Mark, the Yodiest of Reilly's. Mark Yodi Reilly is here. Hello, Mark.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good. I'm twitching right now.
Oh, good. I like what you're doing. What a show we have here today. What a show. I'll tell you why. There's two things to be excited about, and that's our two guests. You hear us talk about shit all the time, and we'll talk about that shit up top. There's no doubt about it. However, our two guests, if you were watching the Kevin Smith interview the other day, you were watching, and when I debuted, or maybe you're just listening to it, you still heard his reaction when I debuted the box office artist, James Raiz. He had done this wonderful art for Kevin and his body of work, and I showed him, and we've been friends with James for a while. James is going to come on the show, and he's going to debut the art that he did for Jericho and Smith for this upcoming Schmoedown that we have coming up next Friday. And I've already seen it. It's amazing. You guys are going to lose your minds. So we're going to talk to him a little bit, see how his adventure in getting his artwork to The Rock has been going, and just talk about how he got started. Because I remember when he first joined or first learned about him, he had, I don't know, something like 2,000 subscribers, or maybe not even that. He was just a fan of it. And now he's got like over 1 million subscribers. He's just a talented cat, man. So I'm looking forward to talking to him. But I'm also really excited because at 11:30 today, a buddy of mine, he's a close friend of mine, Andrew Freed, who I've told you my WWE story many times, and when I wrote my letter, Freed was kind of instrumental in helping me write my draft letter that I sent to Vince McMahon, and he's just been a friend of mine for years. I met him out here. We did stand-up together, and when I went off to do all this stuff, he went off to just become a very talented producer. I mean, he's produced Chef's Table. He produced Last Chance U, among tons of other stuff. And he was on one of the first episodes we ever did when Ellis and I started Schmoes Know. We interviewed him, and he tells, and every time he was on the show, Mark and I always made him tell the Bob Costas story because it was such a great story. He's a great storyteller, but he directed this movie called We Are. We Are Love Freestyle. Thank you. We Are Love. We Are Freestyle Love Supreme. Excuse me. We Are Freestyle Love Supreme is the name of the movie, and it's about how Freestyle Love Supreme, how Love Supreme was able to, how they all started out in Brooklyn and obviously, or New York, and it was Lin-Manuel Miranda who popped out of that, and his story on how that all began. What he did was in 2005 he had seen the show and he approached them, and he asked if he could film some stuff on them. And remember, this is before Lin-Manuel blew up. This was before Hamilton. This is before all that stuff. And he was following them around, and he went to Scotland with them to film their show that they were doing. And then when he was there, he had all this footage, and for years it was just kind of sat around. And I'll let him tell the rest of the story. But he always had it, and he always had this relationship with them. And he went to Hamilton, and he kept the relationship with Lynn and everybody that was in it. And they were doing this tour in 2019, and they wrapped up their film. And then Freed directed it. It debuted at Sundance, and it was so stupid on my part. Like the other. I don't know if I told you this, but like I saw him. I was his Instagram, and it pops up, and it's this trailer because they were debuting Hamilton on Disney Plus, and then We Are Freestyle Love Supreme was on Hulu, and I'm looking at the bundle, and I wrote on Freed's thing. I go, "This is awesome. Remember you telling me this?" And he's like, calls me up. He's like, "You dick! I told you about this movie months ago." And he's like, well, it's out. Watch it. And I was like, fuck yeah, I'll watch it. And anytime you watch your friend's material, no matter what it is, you're watching it going, oh my God, please be good, please be good. And I didn't have to.
Don't suck.
And whether you're going to a stand-up show or whatever it is, right? And I was so happy, like within 5 minutes, I was just locked into this thing. It is, I mean, this is like the Inspiring Week podcast when you had Kevin Smith on doing, all the stories he told. But when you listen to what these guys did and what they were able to do and like the way that as friends they were able to do these shows and how much, like, we've all done improv. Improv in general is very difficult. Freestyling improv, holy shit. So to hear Freed's story, he's going to be on at 11:30, talk about him, talking about that movie. Pretty excited about it. RB3 watched it also, so we're pumped.
Can we talk about the sketch group we never got off the ground we were starting with him?
100%, yeah.
Or was that filmed? Was that going to be a live thing? I remember meeting.
Yeah,
was I a part of that?
I don't know.
Didn't we have a big meeting at one point?
Yeah.
No, we had a meeting at his place, but that was for something else. When you were talking about me, you, and Ken.
No, it was something else. Yeah, it was with Brett.
Yeah.
It was earlier before.
It was like a common room at his place.
It was a common room in Beverly Hills.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it was off of Burton somewhere.
Yeah. That was definitely his place. But anyway, so both Andrew and James will be on today, and we're excited to have them both on. We are also going to be covering some other stories, things that are happening in the world. And you see our main topic here today, and that's that Stranger Things. They planned out their end game, and this is coming over from Dark Horizons. Netflix's Stranger Things, they stalled in production, obviously, like everything else, on its fourth season, with just a few weeks after it began due to COVID-19. It's not clear when the new season will resume filming, let alone get a release. Creators Duffer and Duffer recently spoke about their show with The Hollywood Reporter and confirmed that despite previous comments from Matt Duffer that they only expected the show to run for 4 seasons, the upcoming run will not be the show's last. Duffer says this: Season 4 is not going to be the end. We know what the end is, and we know when it is. The delay has given us time to look ahead, figure out what is best for the show. Starting to fill that out gave us a better idea of how long we need to tell that story. Matt Duffer also says that the break has given them more time to write and really work out the new season plan. We've had a lot more time to work on the scripts. For the first time, we have all the scripts written, and we're able to look at it as a whole piece and make adjustments. David Harbour, Finn Wolfhard, Millie Bobby Brown. Her name is just fun to say. Millie Bobby Brown. Millie Bobby Brown. Getting Matsaro, not easy to say. Caleb McLaughlin, Noah Schnapp, and Winona Ryder all returning for the 4th season, which will potentially shoot again before the year is out. All right, starting with Mark, the Yodiest of Reillys.
Yeah.
You are a massive Stranger Things fan.
I am.
Like a lot of us are, but does this inspire you? And the reason I ask that is because because sometimes, obviously nobody wishes for this type of time, of the way that this time was given to them. But because they are utilizing this time and taking time to really plan it out, and they've always said they treated each season like a big movie, it certainly seems, at least you want to hear the creators of the show say this. Do you feel the same way?
Yeah, especially when you think about it for me, I always go like to a writing kind of thing, and they obviously broke the whole story. Maybe they finally mapped it all the way to the end, which makes sense rather than going season to season and organically building it out from each season and trying to talk to Netflix and trying to look at the all the business side of did it do better or this. I love the idea. If they know where they're going, that story is rich and it's planned out.
Brett, have you watched these seasons yet?
Oh yeah. Okay. I love Stranger Things. Yeah.
Are you pretty pumped about this?
Yeah, and I think this is kind of a good out of bad that's going to happen with a lot of productions, that they're given this breathing room and this time to kind of flesh things out more. And I think that's what's exciting about it, is that they can really, it feels like it'll just go out with an amazing ending season.
Yeah, and reminder to you guys here, because we have the Schmoebot on. It will be on for the duration of the show, except we might, because again, James is a fan of the show, so he wants to be part of the experience in general. We'll keep it on while James is on the show. We're going to turn it off at 11:30. So if you didn't know, the Schmoebot itself, streamlabs.com/the Schmoedown. And Streamlabs, what the Schmoebot does, I've told you guys many times before, the crew is back, and we've been able to have such great shows and have Roca co-hosting and all this stuff. And to the honest answer is, the reason why we're able to do that is for all the generous donations you guys have been giving. So if you want to and you're able to, head on over to streamlabs.com/the Schmoedown. Leave any questions. We'll definitely get to your questions. But if you want to put a Schmobot in, it is its own. RB3, are you a big Stranger Things guy?
Yeah, I love. Excuse me, I love Stranger Things. Stranger Things is one of my favorite things. No pun intended. It's one of my favorite pieces of content out there. And I look forward to see what they do. I think I read an article that at one point they said it was supposed to be 4 seasons, but they actually said it expands beyond that now. At least according to they're quoting the article, and I think that's really awesome too. I would love to see it be more than 4 seasons. I think this could be, Netflix talks about them trying to have like a Game of Thrones or like a big show. I think this is like their biggest property, and they should keep capitalizing off of it. And I think it's great storytelling too. I think if they have a plan, like I think a lot of times these shows fall apart because like they're just writing from season to season and they just kind of make it up. But I think if they have a full out laid out plan for 1 or 2 or 3 more seasons, that's gonna flesh out an entire story and arc. I'm down for it.
I am too, and I'll tell you what else. So you guys, if you've been following this show at all over the last couple of weeks, you'll know my struggle when it comes to being able to find material to watch at night that my wife and I both can agree on. It has been a struggle because, like I said, I understand completely because my wife she's with the kids and she wants that's her time, and we have to figure out, okay, what do we like together? So we're watching the Mission Impossible franchise. As Brett knows, we watched Vanilla Sky together. We watched a few other movies too. It was a Tom Cruise-a-thon for a while, and then she spent $19.99 on that godforsaken Katie Holmes and Josh Lucas secret movie, which it could be grounds for me asking her to sleep on the couch, but I didn't do that. And then there's this other things going on. So and she just picking this stuff that I'll tell you right now, the movie that she picked last night put me into. I fell asleep on the couch within 10 seconds and started snoring, and that would be the Yaya Sisterhood. It's Sandra Bullock. So you're gonna hook me right there. Okay, well, let's put Sandra. And I can't do it. I just can't do it. So I stayed there, and then even she came in at one point. She's like, "This is even boring for me." And I don't understand who this movie is made for when it's made in the theaters. I just don't understand. For a theater movie, like I understand
Divine Secrets of the
whatever the hell, whatever it is, the one with Sandra Bullock, and everybody else is 97 years old in the movie, and it's like, and so we're watching this movie, and I'm thinking about it because I remember Alcon made it. And I get it if it was today, because that movie you could put it on Amazon or you could put it on Netflix, and the people who are not driving to the movie theater when you can go to movie theaters are going to watch that. It's a great movie to make. There was no streaming when that movie was made. How much did that movie make in the theaters? There's the only reason it could have made money if it did. RB3, can you look that up? See, or somebody look that up, please, and see how much it made.
15 million.
Okay, the only reason I would assume that that's the case is because of the year it was made, because Sandra Bullock was still a big star. That is what I would guess if it made it, because I know there was a sequel. But anyway, my wife bailed on it, and I said, you know what, fuck this. And I put Raiders of the Lost Ark on.
Yes.
And I started watching Raiders of the Lost Ark, and I've been pitching this movie, guys, for months. So finally, I realized the trick of how to get my wife to do. Because the same thing, I watched Bill and Ted the other night also, and I put Bill and Ted on, and because I kept pitching that, couldn't get it to go.
John Madden donated $20. This is a big match coming up tomorrow. We could have a new team's champion or the same one depending on how the teams perform. If the Finstock Exchange wins, that would be a big win for them, but if they don't, then that would be a big loss too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
thank you, John Madden. Thank you,
John Madden. Yeah, we're going to talk about that for sure. But budget was $27 million, and it made $73 million, so it made money. So yeah,
$73 million? Wow,
yeah,
that's good. That's really good.
R&B art. Welcome to this show. You come to the wrong show. You guys run your show so professionally. Yeah, no shit, Sherlock. That's the show you've joined, my friend. Find another show. It is a but anyway, watching. I mean, it's like we also call it like. Come on. It's just to this day. We're just talking. Yeah. Go watch Sports Center. You know what I mean? Go watch a news show.
Go watch Yaya Hood and Sister Pants.
Exactly. Get
Find
lost.
secrets of the Ya Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Get lost. You know, we'll clip out whatever you want, whatever part of it of the show you want to see. We'll send us your email. We'll send it to you. So
Funny today. I don't know.
anyway, this is the conversation we have. So we what the hell are we talking about now? Thanks
Well,
a lot.
Raiders of the Lost Ark, man.
Oh, yeah,
We're
Raiders of the
talking
Lost
about
Ark.
Raiders of the Lost Ark.
And Bill and Ted. So I was when I was watching Bill and Ted, I was sitting down and I was watching it, and I was like, you know what? I've been pitching this thing. So my wife's like, oh, I haven't seen this in years. So she sat down and watched with me. Same thing last night. She was bored to tears from the Ya. So she comes in. And she's like, she's like, oh, I haven't watched this in a while. And I was like, yeah, you love National Treasure. If you love National Treasure, how do you not watch? This is the best movie, right?
Jack would donated $20. Christian man, are you gonna watch anything made this decade? Airbase, tell this man to watch Hamilton already. Put your foot down, dude.
See, this is the thing. You say it as if I don't want to watch it. Do you understand something? That play is like 73 hours long. It is longer than the lifespans of the whole cast of Ya Sisterhood. And it is very hard for me to watch it because there's only so much time. Do I want to watch it? Absolutely I do. Will I watch it? Probably not. But it doesn't mean I don't want to. And I do want to.
That's like the perfect thing, though, to put on for the entire family. Just turn that thing on.
I don't know the whole thing. I don't think it's
Okay, sure.
2.5
adultery thing going on there.
for a 3-year-old.
The songs are, catchy. Come on.
Yeah.
I don't know about that. The 3-year-old.
So, Christian, how do you feel about what we were talking about yesterday, the Netflix coming up with a shuffle option? Because to me, that sounds great. When I've gone a half hour with Lonnie in between, like, should we watch this? Should we watch this?
Half an hour, I'm jealous.
Shuffle.
Half an hour, I am jealous, my friend. We spend nights going through and over the same things, and I pitch the same movies every night. I'm telling you, I'm just starting to play them because I just started playing Raiders. She's like, let's watch this tomorrow. And I was like, I've been pitching this movie for 3.5 months. And finally, I'm just going to play it. I'm just going to play the movies because you know what? I know what I did wrong with the Indiana Jones friend. My wife has seen them before, but she doesn't remember them. But I remember what I did wrong. Is I when like 2 years ago, she's like, let's watch an Indiana Jones movie. And I put on Temple of Doom. And Temple of Doom, if you're an Indiana Jones fan, I think if you're a hardcore fan, you really love that movie. I
love it.
I love that movie. But watching it with her, I realize it is really cheesy. It is corny. I love it to death. But it doesn't have that same kind of lock in. It's ridiculous. Like when they go out of the plane and they're flying through on the raft and all this and the CGI is really bad. It's dated. It's dated. I love it.
It's totally dated.
I love it. It's dated.
I thought it was going to be because it was too dark.
No.
I'm still hanging with the dark one. All right, yeah. But it is a little cheesy. It's dated. But what did she do when they got to all the eating the monkey brains and stuff?
I feel so bad now. RMB Art has been like, no, I really like you guys. You're entertaining.
Marshall Weeks donated $20. Hey guys, haven't been able to watch live lately, but I'm back. Last weekend was awesome. Mural Irwin 3 and Cormier Stike 3. Also went to the movies for the first time last week since the shutdown. Watched Unhinged and enjoyed it. Got my ticket for Tenet.
Oh, well, good luck. Where did he say he was?
I missed it.
I don't think he said where he's from, but
Didn't see where he was. Okay, we do have a lot to get through. I will say yesterday, I went on. You guys, do you know Sam Roberts? You guys know Sam Roberts?
I've heard the name.
He's a very brilliant radio guy, and he's been broadcast for a long time as a Sam Roberts show, and he's a WWE. He does shows for them. He does the after shows and things for WWE. He's great. I've known him for a bit. I never really I knew him through channels and we had conversations and stuff too. But I just went on his show. Went on the Sam Roberts show. We taped it yesterday. Should be debuting next week sometime. I talked to him. He's talented, man. I was watching his interviews that he did. He just knows he's a very good interviewer. And I'm not talking about with he and I. She's hurting today, huh?
run.
Let's turn her off for now. She sounds like she's hurting. We might have to replay her later.
I heard run though. It might be going sentient and warning us. So just be careful, RB3. Let us know if.
Or it could be lyrics.
We'll keep trying. We'll keep trying. Okay. So anyway, that's make sure I'll tweet it out. So if you're not following me, it's at Kristian Harloff, and I will tweet it out. And as soon as Sam puts it up, I'll let you guys know about it because it was a good interview. Before we move on, if we can turn the Schmoebot off for a second, I wanted to tell you about Brett. Because Brett has been telling you guys about Feels for a very long time. And I keep getting all of these responses from people who think that it was the perfect pairing because Brett, tell them about it and let them know exactly what it is about Feels that you love so much.
All right. Well, so if you're feeling stress or anxiety, chronic pain, or have trouble sleeping at least once a week, you are what we call a human. A lot of us do. I think, especially during this time, a lot of people who don't deal with these issues are having some of these issues. Personally, myself, it's been an issue I've had for quite some time now, and I was searched through lots of different things to help, and one of the things I discovered was Feels, and it's a premium CBD delivered directly to your doorstep. It helps you reduce stress, anxiety, pain, and sleeplessness. It's naturally. You just put a few drops of it under your tongue, and you feel the difference within minutes. And the thing to remember with CBD is you gotta test it out for a little bit and kind of dial in your dosage. And they're really helpful with the brochure they give you that comes with it. It's super helpful, and they also have a hotline that you can actually call and talk to somebody, and they can go, well, maybe you should try this dosage or work on this, because it can help you sleep, but it also can give you a little energy too at the right dose. So it works naturally to help you feel better. There's no high, hangover, or addiction. What you want to do is join the Feels community and have it delivered to your door every month. You'll save money on every order, and you can pause or cancel every time. This is what you're going to do. You're going to become a member and go to feels.com/SCN and get 50% off with your first order and free shipping. That's feals.com/SCN and become a member and get 50% off automatically taken off your first order with free shipping. Feels.com/SCN. And unfortunately, if you are my mom and you drop my name and tell them, you will not get free Feels. I'm sorry.
You don't know. You could try to see what happens. So make sure you check that out for sure. Thank you, Brett. And then one more thing, we have our James is ready to come in here, so I'm excited to talk to him. But before we do that, this is for my crew. This is for the crew here today, for RB3 and for Brett and for Reilly. I'll ask you guys to do this also. If you guys go to the Schmoedown Twitter feed right now, we live stream this show, by the way, through Twitter. We live stream it through Facebook. At the same time that we're live streaming it through YouTube. So back in months ago, when we asked you guys to get the Flirtenhaus trending, you did it. Well, we want more people to see our guests. We want more people to be introduced to James. We want more people to hear about Freed and what he was able to do with this documentary. So do me a favor, please. Go on over to the Schmoedown Twitter or go to Facebook and retweet or share this show on that platform so other people can see it besides just YouTube. So retweet it on Twitter, please. Go on over there and you'll see it. You'll see it streaming. Very, very important to do that, and would be great if the rest of the crew could retweet it. It would be awesome. So please do that. All right.
I just did it. Yeah. It's that easy.
Without any further ado, let us now bring in our first guest of the day. I have known this gentleman for a while. It's been great to watch him and see what he's done. I remember meeting him, and he was a fan of the old school Schmoes. He was a fan of Jedi Council, and we had met a couple different times. I remember meeting him at celebrations a few different times, and then I'm looking at it right now. He did artwork for us for Jedi Council. He did stuff for us for Schmoes, and he's just a very genuine human being. But then he just kept working, and he kept working hard and pushing and pushing and pushing, and his YouTube channel just blew up, and he's got over 1 million subscribers, and he's got very active and loyal fans, and it's you always root for good people, and that good person is here joining us today, and he is James Raiz, and he is the box office artist. So we are going to bring him in momentarily here. RB3, you got him? There he is. James, what's up, man?
Hey.
Oh, you're muted, I think.
There you
go.
There you go. I'm here.
How you doing, brother? Good to have you. Finally, long time coming. Long time coming.
Absolutely. You know, I've been a fan of yours forever. I think the first time I heard you, Kristian, was on the Adam Carolla show back in 2012.
Wow, is that me with my hat on in the background there?
I think so. Yeah. I decided to put it up. I saw this the other day.
Wow, look at that.
I saw this the other day. Yeah, I'll zoom in.
Yeah, let me see that. RB3, can we get a zoom?
Remember this guy? I believe we made a T-shirt out of this too, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh my God! Remember that?
Look at that. Right? Let me see that. Can we see that? Let me see.
Yeah.
Yeah, look at that. That's great. Holy crap! Look at Dagnino with that hat. Us. Great.
Up there, right? And then this is the one. I think this is the first time you retweeted.
Oh wow, yeah, that's me can't get mod. That was the original Jedi Council. Look at that.
Original Jedi Council. So blast from the past there.
Really good. Yeah. And then I have this one. I can't zoom to it, but the one that I have, it's got me in like the Darth hoodie. It's got Ellis in the Jedi in the Luke garb, and then it's got Reilly, Miri, Sasha, Kuga, Ken, and Tiffany with the Death Star. That's beautiful. So, dude, tell me. So let's talk about how the transition happened, because like you said, 2012 you start watching the show, and you've always been an artist, obviously. And when did you start drawing? When did you first learn that, hey, I'm pretty good at this?
Well, whenever someone gives me that question, I always give the stock answer, 3 years old. But for as long as I can remember, I've always been drawing. I never considered it an actual career, though. I think till my last year of high school. That's when I told my mom I'm not going to be a doctor anymore. I'm going to be an artist instead. She loved that. So and if you ask most Asian kids who go into art, you usually make a deal with your parents. I always say, let me go to college, and if I can't find a job, then I'll go back and become a doctor. And I haven't been a doctor yet, so far so good in that sense. But yeah, I went into comics. I worked for Marvel and DC for about 6 years.
Wow.
And then I went into film. I went back to school. I took computer animation, and then I started a film career.
Tell me about the Marvel and the DC. What were you doing over there?
Oh, I was a penciler. I worked on a few comic books for them. Actually, my very first job, if you ask comic book people now, they'll probably mostly know me for my Transformers work.
Okay.
I did a lot of Transformers back in 2002, which was actually the last time I went to San Diego Comic-Con, 2002. That I did titled Transformers Armada. At that time, we were doing a whole bunch of Transformers series.
Yeah.
But then I started working for many companies. Dark Horse, I did a Star Wars project for Dark Horse. I worked on Hulk for Marvel. I worked on Wonder Woman with Greg Rucka, actually. I worked with him.
Oh, wow. Did you really?
Wonder Woman. Yeah, just for a couple issues, but
that
was a lot of fun.
That's awesome.
Yeah, but the life of a freelance artist, it's really, really tough, because it's like 6 months of the year, or maybe 3 months of the year, you have too much work. The rest you don't have any work.
Yeah.
So it's like a balancing act, right? Like 3 jobs come at once, and you have to pick one, or you say yes to all and do a crappy job on all of them. So that's when I decided to go into computer animation, and then I started my my career as a visual effects artist. So I've worked on Watchmen. I worked on Fantastic Four.
Wow.
I did a little bit in Furious 7, but over the years. But the actual YouTube thing, I was listening to you for a while, and I think around 2013, I had a little bit of I was off between jobs, and I was at home taking care of someone who was sick, and I'm like, I got nothing to do, and I always loved YouTube. I've been watching art YouTubers, but I thought, why don't I try doing a YouTube channel? But the thing was, I didn't want to be an art YouTuber per se.
Right.
I actually wanted to do more what you guys were doing. I wanted to be more like a movie reviewer. So I wanted to be the movie reviewer who draws. So I would review a movie and then draw it out as I review the movie. So if you look at my very, very first videos on YouTube, it's me trying to preview movies, because I couldn't see movies early yet.
Right.
And that's where the name came from. Box Office Artist had nothing to do with the actual art, but it had more to do with me trying to do movies. So Box Office Artist. So that's how I went. And the thing is, people like the art. They hated my reviews. So that's when I started to transition to do more the art side in that sense, right? So.
Yeah, well, you got. Well, we joke about it, but you do have to listen to the audience, right? And you do have to pretend. And because so, at what point then, when you transition over, do you say, "Wait a minute, this is catching on. This is blowing up"? Like, did you expect to? I mean, because you got over 1 million subscribers right now. Yeah. You're crushing it. You got a good Patreon going on. So, at what point do you go, "Oh, wait a minute, this is working"?
Well, let me try to condense that story because that's years of story all there. But I'd say around 2015, I was listening to a lot of this motivational guy. His name's Gary Vee. I've been listening to a lot of him. And he was always saying that, you don't want to live your life with regret. And, if you wanted to do something, you got to at least try it once. And for my whole life, I've been doing artwork for other people. And I wanted to do artwork for myself. So that's when in 2016, I decided to quit my job in film and just solely focus on my own art and my YouTube channel. Now, at that time, I'd say I had about 10,000 or so subs at that time. And I wanted to do something that was a little bit more, try to catch people's attention. So that's when I did that very first Star Wars mural, which I believe I gave a copy to Reilly at Celebration last year.
Yeah, you did, man. I have it.
Right on. This mural is about 13 foot wide, 5.5 feet tall. At that time, it was up to The Force Awakens, so I drew all the movies.
Right.
And Star Wars show, they invited me to come on the show, so they did a feature on it. So I went down to San Francisco. They showed it there, and I was actually good at that point. I was like, okay, I could go back to film. But unfortunately, the way the film industry works, if you're not caught up, like technology changes every year.
Yeah.
And if you're not caught up, then you're not hireable. So at my price tag, nobody would hire me, to be honest. So I couldn't go back to work. So I'm like, I guess I'm stuck in this YouTube thing now. And then in September, I sent out a tweet to Kevin Feige and Bob Iger. Right?
Yeah.
I saw him. Kevin Feige was tweeting like at 4 a.m. And I sent a tweet out to him. I said, hey, Infinity War's coming up. I could do something like this for you. I sent the Star Wars pic. And then the next day, I got contacted by Disney's marketing people. They contacted me. Yeah, and it was Asad Ayaz, who I believe he handles all of Disney's marketing right now.
Yeah.
And he said, hey, look, we saw your stuff. We like it. We don't know what to do yet, but just know you're in our back pocket. We'd like to do something with you. Fast forward to the month before Infinity War. They call me up. He goes, okay, you got a month. What can you do for us? And then I said, okay, what if because I know why they're hiring me. They're hiring me because of that Star Wars piece. I know I can't do that Star Wars piece, but I said, what if I do, I'll draw every movie. I'll draw at that time 18 movies, and I'll make it this one big mural with a big Thanos in the middle. I said, okay, go for it. You have 4 weeks. So that's what I did. I didn't sleep for 4 weeks.
Wow.
And they made this giant mural that was actually put in theaters all over the world. Where you guys are, it was at the Regal.
Really?
Yeah. And they took me down.
Wow.
So I'll send that picture to you.
Please.
Yeah, and then when we were done that, afterwards, I had a meeting with Assad, and then he said, okay, we're done that. Now get ready for the Star Wars one. We're doing Star Wars next year. So be ready for that. So in January last year, he contacted me again, and he goes, okay, you did the Star Wars once. Let's do it again, but this time let's do it for real. And then and this time I did they just wanted the 9 movies. And that's what I did, and that's when I was in LA in December to debut that at the Regal in December. But in terms of the YouTube, my channel didn't really blow up because of that stuff. Like it was all nice and professionally it was good, but it didn't. It's different audiences, right? They don't really come. It wasn't until after the Infinity War piece, and I'd say around that time, it was doing okay, around 50, 60,000 subs. But one day my son came home with this drawing. He designed this little drawing of a character. I'm like, that's cool. What if I redraw it? Would you mind? And he goes, no, please do. And so I redrew it in my style. And that particular video, that was my first video to hit 1 million views. That particular video.
Okay.
So people like, that's what I noticed about an art YouTuber. Unless you're like a photorealistic, like super photorealistic artist, it doesn't really do well. Like they don't really care too much about drawing superheroes and stuff.
Yeah.
But if you do something interesting or something people haven't seen before, that's when people came. So I started doing all these different types of videos that were different, and then I had viral video after viral video after viral video, and that's how my sub count grew to what it is today. So just a lot of grinding, trying, testing a lot of things. So that's how it all worked out.
It's great, man. No, because I've been watching your stuff for a bit, obviously, and we've been keeping in touch for a long time, and then we started talking again recently through a lot. I mean, Skybound was interested in working with you, obviously, and it worked out because you and I have a good relationship, and then we started talking about this Rock video, and I don't know if you guys have seen it yet, but if you haven't, you really should. It was very creative, and it was really smart, and the art obviously speaks for itself of how amazing it was, because James had put together a poster of all the stuff that The Rock had done in his movies, and then what he did, which I also thought was very clever, was that he digitally put himself inside of all the Rock's movies, but trying to get The Rock the art. And I came in and did a silly little thing for him to you know, and then but that video is so good, and if you haven't checked it out, you should. I did send it to the connections I had through The Rock. I haven't heard anything back yet, but I sent it.
The funny thing about that was the morning. So I released that video in the evening. The morning, The Rock, he retweeted somebody else's artwork.
Yeah.
He did the exact same thing I did. He drew him in all his roles.
Okay.
Right? Just literally the morning. Right? And I'm like, okay, there's no way The Rock's gonna even if he did see it and like it, I highly doubt he'd retweet it, because it'd make the other guy look, well, I won't say look bad, but he'd be doing the same thing again.
Right. Well, you know what? Well, fingers crossed that we can do the same thing we did like with Kevin Smith. Like,
yes, absolutely.
Eventually, we will get The Rock on either this show or the Schmoedown. It will happen, and we got very close to doing it. I can't even tell you how many times we got close to doing it, and even closer than that, The Rock was very, very close to doing stuff with the Schmoedown many times. So it will happen. When that happens, we are going to show him that. But what we were able to do was show Kevin Smith the other day. And so what was that? You know, your reaction when you saw Kevin react to your beautiful art of all his movies?
It was very exciting, for sure. I was like, oh, wow, this is the first time I actually got a real reaction. Because usually without a lot of my art, I always put these I'll be honest, I'll put these little clickbait thumbnails here with the actor and making it look like they have the artwork. And people are like, hey, where's the actor? He's not there. But this is the first time an actor actually, or the director anyway, actually saw the art and liked it. So I thought
you can use that. By the way, I didn't mean to, I wanted to tell you, if you want to use that clip of him doing, you absolutely, please, by all means.
Thank you so much. I absolutely will.
100%. Please. Least we can do. And then the other thing is that you're a big wrestling guy. You're a wrestling fan, and you're drawing Jericho. And then that's where we really started talking about it. And that was, we have this massive match with Chris Jericho and Kevin Smith coming up next week. And you said to me, hey, let me draw something for it. And I was like, no. So I was like, yeah, 100%. 100%. Yeah, right. So I was like, absolutely, let's do it, because that's the other thing I think that we'll do is before the match starts, I'm gonna have them react to it.
Oh, fantastic. That'd be great. I really appreciate that.
Absolutely. And for those people who don't know about the match, the Movie Trivia Schmoedown, which is what we do here, it is essentially the WWE or UFC of movie trivia, right? And we turn movie trivia into a sport. And we are going to have Chris Jericho versus Kevin Smith, and that is going to happen next Friday, the 28th. It is free on this channel. It will be on this channel. You can check that out. It'll be here. So if you're brand new, subscribe so you can see the reaction of them reacting to James's artwork. But you're going to be able to react to it first, folks, because debuting on this show right now is that art that James did for the match RB3. What do we got? Here it is. We're going to show you guys. We have the reaction from all you. I want to show exactly what we have going on here. This is the art that James did for the match between Jericho and Kevin Smith. RB3, you ready to go?
Yeah, it's up there.
Oh, it is up there.
Okay.
All right, let's see. Hold on. We have to watch it through YouTube.
I didn't see it here.
Yeah, there it is.
Oh, yeah.
That's you got to put it on YouTube. Oh, look at that.
Okay, there you go.
Look at that. That is beautiful. That is beautiful. Look at that.
Yeah.
Look at that. I mean, you got Kevin Smith on one side, you got Jericho on the other side, and I love all the AEW people you got on the right. So that's very smart. And then on the left, you got all the characters from the Smith universe. That is beautiful. That is absolutely beautiful. They're gonna love it, man.
For the old school fans who you probably won't know a lot of AEW wrestlers, I'm sure you'll know Jake the Snake. He's there at the top. Yep. He's in AEW.
Taz, look at Taz.
Taz is there at the bottom. Yep. JR is there at the bottom there. So yeah.
Mox. Yeah. Do you think Renee's going to go to AEW pretty soon?
The thing is with Renee, she's and personally, I like watching Renee. She used to be on local television here, so it's exciting for us to see her go to there. But I have a feeling she'll be going more towards the sports angle, because I think she could transcend the WWE. I think that it'd be great to see her in AEW for sure. It makes the most sense. She's married to Moxley. Yep. But I think that I could really see her also doing, like, going to ESPN or or being one of the bigger outlets and doing her thing. She's super talented, and can't wait to really see what she does.
Well, it was amazing, and then you did a little bonus one too. Are we? Did you have that bonus one that I sent you too?
Yeah, it's up there. It's up there.
It's up there too.
Yeah.
Oh, there it is. There's a little bonus one. You said that. I love that one as well, because that one you got Coy Andrew. Look at the haircut you gave Coy. I like that. Yeah. And then Roxy's gonna go nuts when she sees that. That's
awesome. Yeah,
amazing. So, and once again, guys, the movie trivia Schmoedown, Jericho versus Kevin Smith. It goes down on the 28th. That is next Friday. And on the undercard or co-main event is Ben Bateman versus Andrew Guy 2 for the #1 contender shot. It is a massive event. It is huge. It is bringing out all of the star power, and this art from James alone should show you how big this match is going to be. James, let me ask you, put you in the spot. Who's going to win the movie trivia Schmoedown match between Smith and Jericho?
Oh boy, none of us have seen really Jericho's knowledge. He seems like a very knowledgeable guy. Roxy says he's really good in the deep cuts, as they say. Like how at this point, if you were actually going to put money on it, how do you not put it on Smith right now? But Jericho's also a very hardworking guy, so I wouldn't be surprised if he pulled off an upset here. So
yeah,
it all depends on how they react to the rules and how they play the game.
That's right.
The gamesmanship, what they spin on the wheel, like all of that's going to come into play for sure. Right. I actually think Kevin will get a little nervous if he actually spun himself. I don't know if he's actually getting that slice or not, but if he spun himself, that's like 10 times the pressure, right? Because it's more than just losing the match. That clip's gonna be forever if he can't remember something from his own movies. Right?
You're absolutely right. It is a lot of pressure if he does decide to use that and he lands on it, and then it's like, what if this deep cut, and then he forgets an actor's name or something, or he forgets it's like, oh my god, that's a lot of pressure.
Yeah, exactly.
It is for sure.
Either way, it's going to be super entertaining. Both are really, really entertaining guys. So it's must-see TV.
Well, this is beautiful, man. Thank you for doing this for sure, because it's really, really good stuff. And make sure
Can I say one thing though, because I've been following you for a long time, and one thing I do notice about making a living off the YouTube sphere, like being a YouTuber, and even if you blow up, there is a shelf life with everything. Like you think about YouTubers, like in 2013, how many of them are still around today? But what you're creating here is something that really transcends this space. I could really see the Schmoedown becoming big, and like you said, esports. I thought making the teams was genius.
Thank you.
Because especially since like with the manager aspect, it's like now there are these players that I probably would have been interested in, nor would have I clicked on the video. But now that I know the managers are involved, that there's stakes involved with every match, okay, not just the title match, but now every single match has stakes to it. I think that was a genius move on your part, man. And being a long-term old school wrestling fan, I remember Saturday Superstars, right? WWE
yeah.
Every Saturday I would watch with my dad, and I always loved that part. And then you're combining two of my favorite loves movies and wrestling, and I think it's phenomenal, man.
Thank you, Jim. It's very nice of you to say, man. Yeah, that was kind of the idea for exactly what you just said. It was that because I always got the pushback, which I understood is like when you put rookies in there, like, well, I don't know them yet, so I'm not going to watch it until they kind of prove themselves, right? But this is something now, because exactly what you said. If you see the rookie, you don't know who that is, but you see the corruption label, and you know the corruption needs this win from this rookie in order to then you're clean.
Lydian_Aaron donated $20. Run.
Oh, there we go.
Jump. Now breathe. That's good. Yeah, like that. One day I was walking and I found this big log, and I rolled the log over, and underneath was a tiny little stick, and I was like, that log had a child.
Oh, that's from the Yoda video, the Yoda bad lip reading.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Okay.
Yeah, I was like,
what movie is that from?
That's what it is. That was your first, James. That was your first Schmoebot.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's great. I like it. Keep them coming. Keep them coming. More Schmoebots.
More Schmoebots. But anyway, man, yeah, it was like that's kind of the idea behind it, because we want to go to these live events. And where do you live?
I'm in Toronto, Canada. Actually.
You're in Canada.
Okay. Yes. I know it takes a lot to get the Schmoedown across the border. I know you were talking about Detroit one of these days, so maybe one day down the line, for sure. But,
Toronto is an absolute goal of mine. Once we're able to, travel again and all that stuff. Like the only thing with Toronto, what we would need is, and we were close, is a sponsor, right? Because it's just very expensive to fly everybody, especially internationally, and just certain things you have to do and equipment and all that stuff that's a little extra money. But Toronto is a place I've always wanted to go. I've always wanted to go to Toronto, so we should definitely, when we go to Toronto, which we will, or if it's Detroit. But if it's Toronto, you should come. We'd love to have you there.
Sure, for sure. Detroit's only a 3-hour drive, so either way, I'm there. I'm definitely there. We're gonna hang out.
James, I have a question. Are you a Raptors fan, or how are you guys doing this season?
I'm Raptors fan. Definitely Raptors fan. Yeah. And it's fun to watch. One thing I did love was the kids. They had their kids introduce them to the game the other day. I thought that was really, really sweet, and I'm glad to see they're doing well, even without Kawhi. They're doing extremely well. So big time Raptors fan. Sure.
Yeah. So James, have you been catching up? Because obviously you're a big movie fan. Also, like I've been talking about my struggles with finding relevant movies lately. How about yourself? Have you been doing more TV stuff, or you been doing movie stuff, or you just been drawing so much that you can't watch anything?
Well, that's the problem, right?
Six man donated $20. Hell yeah. A fellow six man's in the house. Yes, please come to Toronto. Go Raptors.
Go Raptors. There you go.
There you go. Sorry, James.
We're friends. I'll go visit you this afternoon. In terms of actual movies, it's hard for me to watch something while drawing.
Yes.
I always want to look up, so it's always hard. So if I do watch something, it's usually something I watch that I've watched before, so I could actually play the movie in my mind while I'm drawing it. But I'd say the two series that I actually watched throughout this whole quarantine period, I'd say Umbrella Academy. I watched both seasons. It's really amazing. Umbrella Academy is amazing, and that five scene, the last season, won't spoil anything, but that was crazy. That was crazy. And one that, and I blame my wife because I actually have to watch this. I was trying to draw, but it's subtitled. It was Money Heist. Have you guys seen Money Heist?
What's that? Is that the one?
Heist.
Is that the Jamie Foxx one?
No. It's actually a Brazilian show, and it got very, very popular. Very, very popular. It's about these guys, and they took over this bank, and they took all these people hostage in this bank, and it's them trying to defeat the police, right, and trying to get out with all they're printing like billions of dollars and trying to get it out. It's amazing series. If ever you hear people singing Bella Ciao, Bella Ciao, Bella Ciao, that's usually from that. It's all over TikTok. I don't know if you guys are on TikTok or not. It's all over TikTok.
No, I keep. Well, we are actually going to be launching a Schmoedown TikTok very soon, but I can tell you quite honestly, it's going to be from some of our younger members that will be running it.
Well, I say TikTok. I always say, and people who ask me, I get a lot of younger artists who come up to me, how do I build a YouTube channel? I always tell them, TikTok is probably the easiest place to organically grow an audience. Mm-hmm. Well, we don't know how long it's going to be here for you guys anyway, but while it's here, and you get people getting like 30 million followers.
Yeah, it's like this year's Vine. It's like this year's Vine.
Exactly, right?
So it feels
all they're doing is this, right?
Yeah,
that's all they're doing, right?
So I mean, I guess I can talk about it too. So Abby Friel, who is so she's first of all, she's very similar to you, where she was a fan of the Schmoedown and a very passionate fan, has been watching Schmoes for a while too. Super talented, like very funny. Like her updates as she's watching like live events had been kind of a thing. She joined the writing team this year, and we've been watching her TikTok, and we're like, we should be doing something. So she's actually going to be taking over and doing Schmoedown TikTok for us.
Great.
Yeah.
And
you know what's the funniest TikTok right now, or one I like to watch? Kevin Smith won't like this. Bruce Willis has a really funny TikTok. You look at Bruce Willis TikToks, he's doing all these crazy things. I'm like,
does he
Bruce
know
Willis, man, what's he doing?
Does he know that it's actually on, or is someone just following him around?
I think so. That's what's going on.
Yeah. That improv story was so like on brand for everything I'd heard about him too. It's so nuts. Like between that and because I heard all these crazy stories that like he made Justin Long get acting lessons and all this stuff too, and I just. Crazy. I'd love to talk to Justin Long about that. I don't know.
John gets donated $20. Pittsburgh theaters are opening this weekend, including a 15-cent ticket day today. Can't believe I actually have the chance to watch New Mutants in theaters next week. Feel like theaters will shut down again just to prevent that movie from coming.
Yeah, I know. I don't know, man. It's gonna shut down. It's a whole thing. It's a whole thing. How is it in Toronto right now?
We're actually doing okay up here.
Yeah.
We're stage 3, so the theaters are open here.
Okay.
They limit the capacity, I believe, to 50 per theater. if I'm not, if I'm correct.
Yeah.
And so far, not too bad. When we moved to stage 3, there's like a little spike, but they're for the most part it's controlling. But the funny thing was, I actually got messaged by I won't say who, but I had this production company message me. They're like, oh hey, we have this movie. This actor's debuting this movie, and he's going to debut it at a drive-in theater close to me. They're going to do the premiere there. We would like you to go to your fans and do this contest with this movie and share it and all that fun stuff. And we'll send out all the prizes and we'll give you a nice spot in the movie right in the front and all that. I'm like, okay, great. How much compensation are we getting? Never heard from them again. Okay.
A really sweet spot in the front.
Right.
Yeah, sweet spot. That's what
that really great, sweet.
Great view. Great view.
I think that was the kind of the transition period at one point too, because people realized, oh, let's go get a YouTuber. It won't cost us anything. Well, no, that's not how it works. And I think, and even that conversation that we had the other day with Kevin about like podcasting, right? It's like if people didn't take podcasters seriously, people didn't take, well, it's not real, it's not traditional radio. You can't really get an audience. Who's really listening to you? And then it doesn't. If you have an audience, you have an audience. I remember I can't tell you how many times through YouTube when we were doing movie reviews, no one's going to take you guys serious. No one's going to listen to you guys because they have people who write reviews. So why are you doing this? Don't do it. Stick to comedy. And it's like, well, but I want to hear from people who I talk to. I'm not discrediting any of those people. Like, you definitely want to get that deep dive into film analysis. That's for a lot of people. But there's also those people that want to hear from just the regular people who go to the movies and talk like you and I do after the theater. And I think that's why a lot of people have continued. That's why the Chris Stuckmans of the world and Jeremy Johns and everybody had kind of blow up, because I think that Chris Stuckman is like a mixture of the two. He represents that kind of the deep dive film critic, but he also represents a lot of people out there that they feel like they're like him. Jeremy Johns is the same thing where like what Mark and I wanted to do. It's like he's just a dude that talks about movies. Right. And I think that's why they have millions of subscribers, and that's why people want to hear their reviews. And I think and it transitioned over, and that's the same thing like what you're saying when he was like, "Oh yeah, we'll get this guy to do. He draws things on YouTube. We'll do it for free." No, I'm doing it for free.
Well, I mean, we on the Meaning Up podcast this week, we had Lindsey Ellis, who is a very popular YouTuber, almost 1 million subscribers on her channel, and she's been on YouTube for a super long time. And she talked about like her transition from barely any kind of like monetization, from whatever she was doing back in her past to now, where she has a more popular fan base. She's in more control of her content, and it's just is better. So I think as time evolves, more people are going to find what they're able. More people are going to be able to find their niche, and it's going to a better community forms from that. Definitely.
Totally. Agree 100%. So I mean, it's funny because you guys mentioned Umbrella Academy. I really need to watch that show, because when I was doing one-on-one with Kristian Harloff back on Collider Live, I interviewed Ellen Page, and she was talking about that show before it came out. And I remember thinking to myself, I got to watch it. And if I had $1 for every time I said I got to watch it, I'd be able to hire you every day, James.
You'd have a lot of money.
I'd have a lot of money.
Everyone, give Kristian $1, please.
Give me $1.
Or your Schmoedown,
that like button.
Schmoedown, please.
So anyway, man. So what do you got? What's going on? Like, where can the people find you? And like, tell us about your Patreon, though. Because you've got a lot of really great stuff going on with that Patreon.
Well, the Patreon, just something I started recently, and again, like a lot of people come up to me and they do ask how do I get started. And I am a teacher too. I do teach at a college here. I teach visual effects there, and I do like trying to help, especially in the YouTube space. I've learned so many things over the past 5 years: what works, what doesn't, what worked last year is not going to work this year, like all of that. And even those, because the thing is, I got a 20-year career in art, and I've worked in everything from video games, comics, and everything. So I'm also a resource for a lot of these artists who don't know what direction to take. One book I've always wanted to write is a book that it's for my mom, right? Because my mom still thinks I'm unemployed, no matter what I tell her. For 20 years, I'm
your
still
mom
unemployed.
too, huh?
Yeah, exactly. Right?
Right.
Us creative types, we're all employed. There you go. But the funny thing is, when I went for that Infinity War thing, I brought my mom. And I told the person I was working with, can you go talk to my mom Tell her I have a job. She doesn't believe me. So he actually went up to her. Your son.
Prince
He's
Ted
telling
Thomas donated $20. I'm gonna check that out as Harloff, or I'm never gonna fucking watch that.
Oh,
That's okay.
Great.
It was the robot. It was the robot.
Yeah.
Okay. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
Listen, James, I did want to talk to you. I've emailed you several times to do a piece with my illustrious career, and you keep saying you can't find a big enough piece of paper to do it on or something. I can't. I mean, I just want to talk about.
You didn't give me a big enough parking spot offer.
Yes.
So there you go.
That makes sense.
It's just one image of me on this show, crying.
Yeah, that's it.
But sorry, just to wrap up the Patreon, I do offer a one-on-one consultation with people there at a certain tier, and I go live every day. But I used to go live on the YouTube, but as you guys know, sometimes the trolls are there and they just ruin the experience for everything. So the Patreon's a safe space for people to come and just watch me draw for 10, 15 hours.
Who's trolling you? Why are they trolling? Why, like, I understand why I get trolled.
They just want to be noticed. A lot of these guys just saying things.
I guess it's because it's the world as it is. But like I don't like I said. Like I just screamed at somebody 20 minutes ago, and it turned out the guy was giving me a compliment. So I understand why I get trolled. That makes sense. I totally understand that. I understand why. I understand why a lot of us do. I don't understand why anyone would troll you. You do. You're like the nicest human being on the planet. So it's like.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
People are stupid.
By the way, Reilly, did you see yourself in my video? Did you see it?
I did, man.
You did?
And I
You saw
appreciate
that,
it so much. Yeah, man. That was so much fun.
Thank you, man. Thank you. I interviewed Reilly, Mark, and Dagnito about
and you
Star
got
Wars.
Dagnino, which is crazy.
I couldn't believe
I remember
how many
this.
Dagnino's clips I used. Talking about Star Wars in my video. I didn't know how insightful he was about Star Wars.
I know. I remember standing there and going, who did he bribe to get all this information in Star Wars?
That's the beauty with him is that that's the genius of Dagnino. He can make it seem like he's a genius in anything, but the reality is he doesn't know about anything.
Okay. He's just making
Oh yeah, I mean absolutely.
nice.
You think about it. When Luke had that lightsaber, I mean, come on.
Yeah, I think didn't he riff on Yoda and Luke for a while? He's like, well, see, the hero's journey.
Yeah.
Luke Skywalker.
And he probably read it in the plane on the plane ride over.
Yeah, exactly.
Probably.
That's probably absolutely. All right, James, listen, man, we gotta do this again, dude. It was a pleasure to have you guys. And once again, if you didn't know, go to patreon.com/boxofficeartist to head on over to his Patreon and go to his YouTube channel, which is also Box Office Artist. It's a great follow. It's a lot of fun. And yeah, man, let's get you back on here sooner than later, and we will send this over, and we'll make sure that that Jericho and Smith see this on the big match day.
Amazing. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you so much. Keep killing
so
it.
good to see you.
I watch you guys every single day. You're in my ears while I'm drawing every single day. So
Awesome,
keep doing what you do. Keep doing.
Well, sorry we're distracting you.
Oh, yes. I got work to do. I got stuff to do.
All right, James, the great James, and once again, Box Office Artist. Thanks again, man. Have fun. We'll see you really soon.
Okay, take care, everyone. Right.
Awesome.
Thanks, Ian.
Just a
Good to see him.
Yeah, just a good.
He's the nicest guy. I loved hanging with him at Celebration.
Yeah.
And that Dagnino thing was probably one of the funniest things I've ever seen.
Yeah, he's just a chill dude. I mean, it's like it's always a pleasure to have him on the show for sure. And that's only one of our guests today. We got two guests. And we're going to be talking to Andrew Freed in just a little bit here. So make sure
the Schmoedown is still on, 2 people. So let's make sure we get the Schmoedown in before Andrew gets in. Something like that. So for sure.
Yeah, make sure that you do that because, like I said, we run on donations, and we want to make sure that we keep the crew around if you're able to. Going over to streamlabs.com/the-Schmoedown. I think that's what I'm going to do right now is because we're not going to be able to get to the questions at 11:30 because Andrew's going to come on and we're going to be talking to him about his project and other things that he's working on. So let's get those questions in and Schmoebots in now because that's it. This is my last show for the week because Roka's going to be on tomorrow. We have a lot of stuff going on, and obviously the big pay-per-view is happening tomorrow. You guys mentioned earlier. We have 2 big matches. Mark Reilly and Ben Bateman go up against William Bibiani and The Kid. That is Shazam versus Who's the Boss in a #1 contender match. And then the title match is going to be Corruption, Mike Kalinowski, and Chance Ellison trying to win their titles that they lost to, win their titles back, that they lost to the founding fathers, the current champions, John the Outlaw Roca and Dangerous Dan Mural. You can get that if you're a patron at the $10 tier. You're getting all these pay-per-views that we're doing. You're getting them for free, or not for free, but you're getting them at the $10 level, and you're getting them, and they just keep popping up. It's very similar to like what they do with WWE Network. We want to treat it like a streaming service. If not, you go to the Schmoedownlive.com and you get it. Now, I saw some comments yesterday on, because we're airing all the matches. We aired the Sabrina Ramirez and Vinny Mancuso match.
Yeah, and salute to Sabrina too, by the way. She played
yeah, both of them. They played really, really well. And Sabrina, obviously, there's a lot of pressure to come into a tournament match on your first match, and Vinny coming in and doing what they did. It was a good showing from both.
_real_entertainment donated $28. Wanted to say you guys have inspired my friends and I with our podcasts, and we have a big live show tonight with Naomi Grossman, aka Pepper from AHS, and producer Alok Mishra for their film 1BR that comes to Netflix Sunday. Stream starts at 8 ET on our YouTube. _real_entertainment donated $20.
Donated twice.
Wanted to say you guys have inspired my friends and I with our podcasts, and we have a big live show tonight with Naomi Grossman, aka Payne from AHS, and producer Alok Mishra for their film 1BR that comes to Netflix Sunday. Stream starts at 8 ET on our YouTube.
APA, awesome. Watch that stream.
Yes, we'll check that out. But anyway, I was watching some of these comments, and there was one particular guy, and look, I understand the particular frustration. He's like, oh, now you're spoiling matches because of we can't be a Patreon. That's not fair. That's not the case. We have to treat this thing like a sport, and we have to move. It's not a movie. It's not a movie. We're giving 4 matches that you can just watch on this channel every day. It's not part of Patreon. It's every day you can watch these matches, and they're there. And we have to, because once again, we have a full crew. We have a full thing. We also want to make sure that we're giving content to the patrons. So we are providing a streaming service. So in order to do that, we created these big events for the Patreon. These big events wouldn't exist if it wasn't for the Patreon. So they are going to also be treated like a sport, the same way when you have like a pay-per-view boxing match or a UFC fight. We're not expecting you to get it. If you can't get it, you can't get it. But you can't also say, oh, you guys, you shouldn't talk about it until I've had the opportunity to watch it. We're giving you an opportunity to watch it. And then if you can't, then you just have to watch the match when it airs free. You can either go on over to and decide not to keep on updates and not follow the social media channels and that kind of thing.
Hamstrack donated $20. I saw a movie called Uncle Peckerhead. A band hires a homeless man who turns into a demon to be their roadie. Great music, fucking hilarious, lots of gore and a lot of heart as well. 100 guarantee you will love this movie.
Yeah, I don't know.
Definitely check it out.
I don't know why Goddard told you to shut up about the Bonnie match when Gilmore had a show air about it. It's like we're not doing that anymore. It's like we're not doing that anymore. It's like if it airs, we're giving people at least 24 hours to watch it before we're really getting putting a lot of results in.
Donated $20. Just picked up Castlevania Collection and Sega Genesis Classics on the PlayStation Store. You
Awesome.
guys got any classic games you were real into? In fact, can I get angry Reilly going off after dying or losing at a video game of your choosing?
Do Mike Tyson's Punch Out, Reilly.
Yeah, that one. Jeez.
God, I just got my Nintendo. We've just been playing that.
There you go. So then you get pissed off because you just lost.
All right. Right now?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. Okay. So we're gonna get okay. Here we go. It's like, all right, son of a bitch. Here we go. Jesus Christ! What the fuck, man? I'm punching this son of a bitch 87 times, and then he does this little thing, and he goes around in fucking circles, and he fucking hits me one after the fucking other. Fuck this game. I'm out.
Tell me about King Hippo.
King Hippo? What a fucking name, that guy, right? Jesus Christ, he gets there, and you gotta punch him in the stomach over and over again to get his asshole mouth to open up, and then you pop him one, and he's supposed to go down. Well, I do it. I do it 5 fucking times, but he doesn't do it. King Hippo, fuck you, dude.
I think Ethan Irwin is the King Hippo of
Don't get me started.
The reason I say that is because when you punch, if he punches you once, your head gets knocked off. But if you punch him in the belly and then you can get that's animation movies for Ethan.
Right, and you got to get that boom, and then
Yeah.
Yep, I get it.
So that's it. Anyway, so just to let everybody know, going back to what I was saying, I understand for people if you have to understand that what we're doing for the pay-per-views. We also they usually are only once a month, but we've done like 6 over the course of like 4 weeks. So we're treating it. We have to make sure that people are understanding and keeping up because the standings and factions and everything too, and point value going up. You're gonna get spoiled. So there's 3 options. Option 1 is you have an opportunity if you can. Not everybody's able to do this, and I understand that. You join the Patreon at that level. If you can't do that, you also have an opportunity at the Schmoedownlive.com. If you can't, you're like, I just can't do it. I don't care enough, or I just don't have the money enough to do it. I just can't do it. Then what I would tell you is just avoid the spoilers until it airs. It airs a week later. That's it. So that's kind of how we have to run it. And apologies for there were some people who were very understanding about it and were bummed about it. And there's one guy kicking and screaming his feet and doing the whole unsubscribe. And at that point, you got to go. It's like we appreciate it. We really appreciate all the love and support that you put into it. But like we have to make sure that we're trying to run this like a sport. So okay. Thank you, everybody, for that. And now we're going to get to your questions because, like I said, Andrew Freed's coming on here in a little bit. We want to make sure that we're going to shut the Schmoebot off. So if you're going to get the Schmoebot in, you want to get it in within the next 20 minutes because we're going to be turning it off soon. So here we go. All right, let's go to Streamlabs, and I'm going to bring this up. Streamlabs.com. And this is not just the Schmoebot, by the way. If you just want to put in a question today, I will make sure that we can do that. So let's... That's not exactly what I wanted to do at all. I'm sorry. Sorry. What else? Is there anything else going on in the news? This is why I miss Goddard right now because I have to do all this other shit while somebody brings up.
Release the new Batman symbol.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well,
I saw that. It looks really cool. The marketing with DC fandom starting, so they're starting to, put stuff out there, and the logo looks like old comic book. Like it feels like Frank Miller. Just like gritty, blood red. The new symbol looks great. I'm excited to get some more action on the Batman.
And did you look? Yeah, go ahead, Robbie.
I was gonna say, speaking on DC DC Fandom. They announced that the new Zack Snyder Justice League trailer is going to be showing there.
Oh, that's right.
I can't wait for that.
I'm super excited for that. That's going to be apparently debuting today. So
Okay.
we get a look at. I know Zack Snyder tweeted out a clip this morning. I'm excited to see the full trailer. They said it's going to be completely different. That gets me super excited.
Donated $20. If Brett was murdered, which TV or movie Sherlock Holmes would you hire to solve it?
Benedict Cumberbatch.
Sure. Cumberbatch should probably figure it out pretty quick.
Sherlock Gnome.
Yeah,
Oh.
that's a good one.
Sherlock Gnome is a good one. Okay.
Lucy Liu on was that Lu? No, there's one on CBS that I don't know.
Oh, is it Elementary?
Nobody else is freaked out by the "if Brett was murdered" part of the question. Like, we're just gonna answer this nonchalantly.
Oh, sorry, Brett.
No, why not?
Brett was murdered?
If Brett was murdered, what should I use to murder him? What? Hey,
Right.
$20 is $20, man.
All right, let me get to some of these questions here too. This comes in from Wet Ass Pieces. Thank you, Christian. For next year's draft, will the 3 players kept for each team be announced prior, or will those 3 players be the first 3 rounds of the draft? If the latter, Roka may have a repeat of last year going number 4 and all hell will break loose. No. That's not how it works. So basically, the manager will have an opportunity to sign 3 players before the draft starts. Let's take Shannon Barney, for example, right? Let's say corruption wins the whole thing. They win the whole faction. Shannon will have 1 week to sign her players before any other rival factions can even approach her other players to try to persuade them to join. She will have 1 week before any interference can happen. They will also be the only team, the winning team that is, that can lock down players before free agency. So let's say we're using corruption as an example. They win the whole faction tournament or faction championship, and then Shannon decides she's going to keep Mike, Chance, and Laura Kelly. So then, because she won, she'll have the last pick of the first round in the draft, and then that will be her 4th. The last pick of the draft will be Shannon's first round pick. So that's how that will all go. And then the other factions will be making moves and trying to get commitments from people, and then the free agency special will have, and they'll either find out if those people will go with them or not, and then they'll have a few more days. If, like, let's say John Roca. It's been a big story that John Roca has been talking to people, and the Finstock Exchange at that point did not win they didn't win first place, and they're trying to lock John down, and he makes a soft commitment to them, but he's also talking to, I don't know, let's say he's talking to Swag. Well, we're going to find out at the exchange, at the free agency special, who he will sign with, right? So let's say the exchange thought he was going to go with them, and he goes with Swag. Well, the exchange will have a couple more days to lock down a player before the draft. That's kind of how that all works. Dick and mashed potatoes. There you go. Yeah. Hard to be objective for this, but what player move in the Schmoedown would you most like to see next year? Right now, I think my vote would be pairing Roca with Kaiser, because that shit would be supremely entertaining. Plus, I want to see Cowboy Kaiser. Reilly, let me ask you about this, because this is the exchange. You know, this is a thing. People keep talking about Roca, right? You know, going somewhere else, right? Like, are you locked to stay with the exchange?
Am I?
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Of course I am, but right now it's hard to even. I don't know. I told those guys over there when they were asking me the same question, Brad and Jen. You guys talk your stories. I know what's going on behind the scenes with the Finstock Exchange, and so we're locked in right now, and I think we're firing on all cylinders. So this talk just doesn't seem real, and it's also very premature.
Fair enough. The other thing to mention for those people who didn't know this, the Schmoedown Clips channel, we are at around 6,000 subscribers right now. As soon as we get to 10,000, we're going to release, we have an exclusive documentary that's up on Patreon right now for about the outlaw John Roca, and it is just for patrons. But once we get to 10,000 subscribers on that Clips channel, we are going to release that on that channel. And there's so many great moments on there. Right now, they just put one up. Mark Andraco pulls off the greatest comeback in Schmoedown history, and it was against Ethan Irwin. It's a great clip. So go and check it out if you haven't checked it out before. Next question here. Here it is. Okay. Concerned fan, curious what the opinion is on the line between being a heel and being hateful. Yesterday's match seemed excessive against Jader, and there seemed to be a lot of feedback about it. Kristian, what's the line when you feel you need to step in? People just need to figure out exactly. It drives me nuts when the fans do that. It drives me nuts. They're allowed to, but it drives me nuts. You don't think that Roxy and Jader had a conversation about it beforehand? Yes, they did. Roxy's like, I'm gonna go hard. I'm gonna go in on you right here, and I'm gonna say this. And Jader's like, that's cool. Go ahead, do it. Roxy's character is that character to where she's the mean girl. She did that thing from the whole turn with Ben, and that was the whole thing. She's the you suck. She's this thing. Ken Napsuck does one thing, Roxy does another. So no, I'm not concerned about it at all, and I don't need to step in at all, because it was exactly what she's been doing since day one. She knows what she's doing. Jader was more than cool with it, and Jader understood everything about it. It drives me bananas when it happens. Bananas.
Yeah, and sometimes it feels personal, but she's just doing an act.
Yeah, I know. Right? You got it too.
Right? It's just an act, right, Roxy?
That's right. She's a mean. It drives me nuts. It's like people. It's like you got to understand what this thing is. It's like it's like if Jader was like legit pissed about it and he started getting mad about it, then I'd say, look, Roxy, he wasn't ready. You got to talk to him about that before you do that. Yeah. They had these conversations right beforehand. She's like, Jader, I'm going in on you, and I'm just kind of going in mean. He's like, that's cool. I get it. I understand. Jader's a fan. He understands. It's just like you guys care more than he did. Trust me.
And support Jader's YouTube channel too.
Yeah, that's the whole point. Prince wasn't promised it. The only thing is, it's not funny. Not supposed to be. This isn't a comedy show. It's the one thing also that drove me nuts about like this one time I pitched to a sponsor and I got this thing back. It's like, oh, we think it's hysterical, but it's not supposed to be funny. There are certain characters that are supposed to be funny. Heels, you're not supposed to like heels. This is a misconception. I saw this in a conversation where someone's like, "Oh, the difference between like Brandon Hanna and Chandru is like I don't like them. Guy and Walentowski, I like them." Well, you shouldn't. When Guy came in the league at first, everyone hated him. He's just very charming, and there were things that he did that you love to hate him. But real heels, you're supposed to not like them. Roxy did it right. She was obnoxious. She was mean. And wait until you see other stuff that she does. She was perfect of what she was doing. So it wasn't supposed to be funny. So if you're saying it wasn't funny, though, good. I'm glad. It wasn't supposed to be funny. All right, next. Next one here. Let's get to the questions. Sorry. And now we have, because we have 10 minutes before we welcome our guests. So if you have any Schmoebots coming in there, let me know. All right. Seriously, y'all, I don't know what's happening. I'm sorry. I think I should run to the bathroom. Can someone take over Streamlabs for a second? I need to figure this out. I changed my underwear. All right. There you go. Perfect.
And he wanted Van to read that.
I know he did. It follows up. I finally started Peanut Butter Falcon. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to finish it, but I will tonight because I have 30 minutes left, and I'm really enjoying it so far. Although through the mystical black magic, I don't know. It's a really good movie. You should check it out for sure. My wife and I that was one I almost got her to do. Cinema Gorilla. Happy Thursday to all our schmoes, rock stars, outlaws, bandits, blurs, geeks of color, rejects, Van Bruges, Playdator, Whirlpool, Smoke Shows, and Jeremiah. And Hi King Brett. Thank you. That was very nice. This is Shiraz Govida. I am not the pleasant plucker. I am the pleasant plucker's mate. I am only the pleasant... Okay. You guys are something else. Gingerbread. I watched Top Gun for the first time and thought it was awful. How dare you? It was Navy propaganda. How dare you? But it was also something else. What 80s movie is beloved that you guys just don't get the hype for? 80s movie? There's not too many 80s movies that are beloved that I don't love. That's usually what I do.
There's so many for me, man. Where do I start? Where do I start?
Sure. It's a different generation. I'm sure. Like after you're done doing this, give me some of the movies that you love from your generation. I'll tell you which ones I think.
You say them all the time. You say Spider-Man 2 all the time, which I don't understand. I don't understand that one personally. But
it's dated. That movie is dated.
I don't know, man. I feel like that's like saying Citizen Kane is dated because it's in black and white. You know what I mean? Like
no. That's a difference. That's a difference.
There's timeless and dated.
There's jokes. I think it's a good movie. I just think it's incredibly dated and cheesy. But go back. So name a few 80s movies.
Where do I start? I mean,
can I kick you out of the room at all, or no? I can't.
I can kick y'all out.
Who's got the jump on us?
Yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, Goonies is a little is a little. I like
Goonies
that movie.
Is a little bit dated, and I watched it. I love it. But it is a little bit dated, and the nostalgia you got to rely on a little bit. That was me on a revisit. So,
what was the one John Hughes movie? Was it Pretty in Pink? That one is terrible too. Like there's a few out there that I'm like, I don't know, man.
Okay.
All right, you're dodging.
Pretty in Pink, you know.
Let me think. I'm looking up iconic 80 movies right now. 80s movies.
Oh, I suppose you don't think it's plausible that two guys took their dead boss on a vacation too. Yeah. Like,
Did you guys see that? Did you guys see that somebody put Bernie in one of those baseball cutouts?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That was wonderful.
That was amazing.
It's so good. I loved that. All right, let's get to the next one here. Are we ready? All right, let's go. Next question here is PLD. I love Freestyle Love Supreme. I've seen it 5 times, and my wife is even in the documentary as one of the volunteers on stage. Great show. Oh, that's awesome. Wow. That's great. We'll tell Freed that also. All right, a couple Schmoebots here, and then Dagan says, "Hey crew, been meaning to do an Indiana Jones marathon."
$20. Hi all. Can we get Arnold and Michael B. Jordan trying to convince Elmo has a clone? Please don't murder Brett.
That one we got to save that one because I don't know if we'll hold that one. Are we to make a note for that one? We'll come out. We'll have to do it on a different show because we only have like 7 minutes. I want to get through these. Questions, and I also want to make sure that we get Andrew in here when he comes in.
Yeah.
Dagan wanted to do an Indiana Jones marathon recently. Do you think it works better chronologically? Temple, Raiders, then Last Crusade in order of their release? Obviously, I will not be including the 4th film in the rewatch. No, you know, I was thinking about that last night, Reilly.
Yeah.
You can't even really tell that it's a prequel.
No,
the only reason
not at all.
The only reason is because of the date itself, and like. It's like I was trying to watch it, thinking to myself, Raiders of the Lost Ark last night, thinking to myself, oh wait, he's gone through all this kind of supernatural stuff already. I'm like, because it seems like he's figured, like even when he's talking about the ark, he's like, if you believe in any of that kind of stuff, but he's already seen it at this point. He's already seen that type of magic. He's already seen, you know what I mean? Like
I didn't even consider that.
Yeah,
so, I didn't know it was a prequel.
Yeah, and I learned it was a prequel years later. I mean, as a kid, you're not up on dates, right? Especially back then. So when I found out it was a prequel later, I was like, it is.
Yeah, so I don't think it doesn't really matter. You could I would actually recommend watching them the way that they came out released because that's what serves better.
Well, that's what I was going to say. I feel like you have to watch Raiders because it's a perfect movie in my opinion. And
Yes.
that's the stage you fall in love with the character, then you can handle the weirdness of
Yes.
Temple of Doom.
100%.
You're already in there, and then you get the nice finish with
Raiders is a very intro movie.
It is. Indiana Jones, the first and the third, to me, fit together in the same tone.
Yeah.
The second one seems like a separate adventure that, like, if you were, like, walking through, like, a comic book shop, and you're like, oh, the Adventures of Indiana Jones, the Temple of Doom, and you picked it up, and you're like, oh, what's this crazy adventure? And it's like, oh, they made this into a movie? Like, that's kind of what it was. So it's like 1, 2, and 3, and then I've only seen the fourth one once when I saw it in the theater. I don't know if I could ever bring myself to watch it again.
I brought myself to revisit a number of times, if you can believe it, and it
Gotta be terrible.
It's weird. The movie doesn't get any better.
Yeah,
it doesn't. No, it has its moments. It does, but
I hadn't seen it, and I heard it was bad, but we went through all of them with my son, and wow, this was years ago. He was just like, that was not great.
It was they tried to get to it. It suffered from a lot. All right, let's see. Going to the next one here. And let's get ourselves to Iron Bat 1993. Kristian, just wanted to tell you that I haven't watched WWE SmackDown in weeks because of these amazing pay-per-views. So I'm glad I'm a patron. Also, F the haters. I love this. Keep up the great work, everyone. Well, thank you. I'm glad. And look, there's always going to be people who give you crap. That's part of whatever you do. You just have to figure out. Look at James. You just gotta push past it, and you gotta do different things. And I also, like I said, I don't necessarily think those people that were complaining about the Patreon stuff. I wouldn't put them in the haters category at all. I understand why they would be upset, but they also have to understand the other side of it. And I don't think that they were doing that. Is that Connie Chung? That's funny. Bad Boys for Life is still the highest grossing film of 2020 with a worldwide gross of $424 million. Do you think any film will take the top spot? No. I mean, I don't know. Tenet possibly could do it in other countries.
Movie theaters are opening though, man. I see a lot of movie theaters opening across the country now.
Who's going? Yeah. Who's gonna go?
People are excited. I think it's gonna be. I think people are excited to go back.
So you think there'll be a movie that tops 424?
Domestically or world? Because I think that number is worldwide. I think definitely worldwide something will top that.
We could. Yeah. Well, we need to get like all the analytics. What are the theaters that are opening? Where are they? What's the Right. I don't know about that though.
I think the biggest places that are not opening is California, New York, and Florida. As of right now.
Right.
All right. Well, let's see. Moving on to the next one here. Sorry, I got to refresh because we have a bunch of Schmoebots that have come in, and now we're going to see if there's any more questions that came in. Excuse me, everybody. All right, here's the last streamlabs.com/Schmoedown. The K-Wolf. Hey, has Roxy called Brett to help build a bigger shelf for that L collection? It's funny. I mean, yeah, the rock stars are struggling right now. There's no doubt about it. So, look, this it's still young. Tournament has just taken off, everybody. So make sure you are watching those things for sure. Super Chat wanted to get in there. Cobra Commanders, Darth Jader of the Knights of Ken, perfect. Dark Faith 66. Roxy and Jim had a great match. Roxy and Jim. You mean Jim and Jader? Jessica Morgan. My dad is known for being a troll when it comes to birthdays. Example, dropping off a rascal scooter at the daycare my aunt runs for her 50th birthday. Need ideas on how to get him back on his 60th birthday. It's pretty funny. Nick Bascom. I think I'm a day late, but happy birthday to JT. Happy birthday, JT. I think that's it. That's it for Schmoebot. So do we... Andrew's not in the thing yet, is he? He is. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So we're going to turn the Schmoebot off. We are going to turn the Schmoebot off because we do want to bring in our next guest here, ladies and gentlemen. I'm excited to have him in here because he's been a friend of mine for a very long time. We did stand up together. There was a lot that we had done together, and then I mentioned earlier, and I mentioned this on the Sam Roberts show actually too. Andrew was instrumental in helping me with the WWE job when I got it. He helped me write a letter to Vince McMahon, but he is now. Well, by the way, he's also produced a lot of great things. Like I said, Chef's Table, Last Chance U. So we're going to talk to him right now. Bring him in, please, RB3.
He's in. He had a great entrance too.
Oh, he did?
Like
Yeah.
side turn thing. Oh, there you are.
I didn't see you there.
You couldn't see that I'm
Where is he?
heading
There he is.
hats. Also.
It is. This is not healthy Tom Sizemore. It is Andrew Freed, and it is absolutely wonderful to have him here. And he is also the director of We Are Freestyle Love Supreme, which is out on Hulu now. I had mentioned to you guys earlier that I saw Freed's Instagram post, and he had posted this trailer. And I said to him, I said, "Dude, I remember when you told me this story." He's like, "Idiot! I told you about this movie months ago. Watch it, dummy." And I did watch it.
Christian's like, "Oh yeah, I vaguely remember you mentioning this to me," and I was like, "Yes, well, we released the film on Hulu July 17th. I sent you a link to the movie. Thank you so much for even reading the email that I sent you. But you know, times change.
Such as life. But I did.
Christian is big time now, and I'm going to change my Twitter handle maybe to healthy Tom Sizemore. Maybe.
Nice.
Well, listen, dude, I did watch it, and I called you immediately afterwards, and I loved it. It was super inspiring. It was amazing, but the story is even more inspiring because it's like you don't get. This is kind of like magic in a bottle, where you're able to, first of all, discover, these, because they already had this popular show. And so tell me the story, first of all, how you got involved with them, because you went and you saw a show in New York.
Yeah, my friend Brett Goffin, not Brett Sheridan, also my friend, but not him. My friend Brett Goffin said, "You got to go see this show. I'm not even going to tell you what it's about." Now, keep in mind, just to sort of bring it home, this is July of 2005, right? So I still considered myself a former performer, a former improviser, a former comic, a former actor. All of those things were still just sort of getting out of my system. And then I go to this show. I know nothing about it. It's called Freestyle Love Supreme. It is long form improv done to music, primarily through freestyle hip hop. It blew me away. I went to like this Thursday night show at a theater called Ars Nova in New York City, not as like producer, not as anything, really just like my friend told me I would like this show. And these guys were on stage and they were so good and they were so talented and it was so effortless to them that at the end, when everybody was outside being like, "Oh my God, that was so great," I was like, fuck these guys. Like I was so like truly bitter about the whole experience that they not just jealous of their talent, but also of how much fun they were having. Like really clearly having so much fun creating and telling stories up on stage in a way that I knew I never could. And it stuck with me and it sort of burned me for a few days. And the following week, the way it happens, I was telling one friend about it and they said, "Yeah, I think I know so-and-so." So we connected the dots. I took a meeting with them, like I was nobody. But I took a meeting with them. They showed up to the meeting with suitcases.
Yeah.
And I was like, "So is there some sort of like ventriloquist part of the routine that I have not seen? Like what's in the bags?" They said, "No, we're going to Scotland. We're going to be performing at the Edinburgh Fringe Festival for a month."
When you say they, though, Andrew, when you say they, who's at the meeting?
I think the meeting was Anthony and Tommy. I don't remember Lynn being at the meeting, to be honest. I just remember the two of them. But they were all meeting up at the airport to go to Scotland for a month. And, 3 weeks later, not even 3 weeks later, probably 2 weeks after that meeting, I was sleeping on their couch and filming them in Edinburgh while they were performing for this run. So I'd only seen them once.
Did they like you at first?
I can't imagine that they thought all that much. Well, you see it. You see it in the movie. You see it in the movie, which is I get them to agree to let me sleep on their couch and come film them. Right. They're very excited. A little bit of this is in the movie. I met Tommy Kail, who's the director of the group and, is obviously a very creative and sort of wonderfully talented guy and very precious about protecting the sanctity and the safety of this creative space for them.
Right.
And so I met him at a Starbucks while they were all still sleeping in the flat. And as we're in the Starbucks, I remember seeing that they were reviewed in like the local giveaway paper, whatever that like stack of newspapers was, and it was not a great review. And I said to Tommy, maybe we can read this to the group, and that would be a good scene for us to film. And he was like, well, no, that's like the exact opposite of what I would ever do and what you said you would be doing. And I was like, well, maybe we could just leave it on the table. Maybe they come upon it. And we could film that. And he's like, yeah, no, that sounds like a terrible idea. But
how'd you get him to do it, though?
You know, I have my ways.
You
I don't know. I was relentless, like everything.
Right. Well, no, because well, no, it's funny you joke about it, but that's why you are such a successful producer, because like, I think that people start to trust you in your ideas, right? And like you were able to do that, but you were also able to, even whether they liked you or not in the beginning is irrelevant, because you gained their trust, obviously, because you know.
Now it's relevant. You're like Trump. You're just bringing up the idea. People are saying maybe they didn't like you at first. I'm not saying that. I'm not endorsing that.
You're not endorsing
that. I've heard people say
many people
really like you at first.
Many people have been talking.
Whether they like you at first or not is irrelevant.
It's irrelevant.
It's like, oh, thank you for settling that.
Well, it's irrelevant because the reason
made up and now we're dispelling.
Absolutely. What I say on this show is gospel. So they didn't like you, but the fact is, obviously they did, because they trusted you. Because after this, and there's so many things of inside these 3 weeks I want to talk to you about. But after this, you keep this relation with them for what, 15 years?
Yeah, we filmed in Scotland for a few days. We really did, connect, I think, creatively and just on a personal level. We did become pretty friendly, and we filmed some stuff in New York, in the streets of New York City, just sort of rapping and interacting with people and freestyling on the streets, and that was a lot of fun. And then, Lynn and Tommy and Chris and Bill were involved in this show that they invited me to a reading of called In the Heights.
Right.
And it was, just a staged reading. It wasn't quite music stands, but it wasn't like a full-on choreographed performance. And it was a pretty magical thing for me. Like, you have those moments, I'm sure you guys have had it more in the comedy world than anything else, where it's like, wow, I just saw something great. I was in that room. I remember the first time I heard, so-and-so do a 10-minute set, and knowing that they were, going to be the next Robin Williams or whatever. Right. When I saw that off-Broadway sort of workshop of In the Heights, I called my mom. Kristian, as you know, this is not a bullshit story. I actually do call my mom in moments like this. And I called my mom and I said, the songs that I just heard are going to be performed by high school kids for the next 50 years. And like, what do I do? I don't have $10 million to produce a Broadway show, but what do I do? And her advice was, she said, you do what you do. You tell their story, you keep going. So that began really my documenting everything having to do with In the Heights, moving first off Broadway and then ultimately to Broadway. And we shot 800 hours worth over the next, several years, all the way to them winning the Tony for Best Musical. And then that was sort of the end for me. Then, they did this thing, Hamilton, whatever. But like, I moved to LA, and that was sort of the end of it for me. For a little while.
But yes and no, right? Because but you were still keeping in contact with them. You went to Hamilton. You saw, like, you went opening night or something.
Oh yeah. I was still their friend. I just wasn't a documentarian necessarily. I saw Hamilton. They did a thing at Jazz at Lincoln Center, which was a staged reading with music stands that was just a few songs. That was a pretty magical night. I saw it at the Public. I was at opening night on Broadway. Yeah, I was very much a part of, peripherally experiencing that wave. But I lived 3,000 miles away. I mean, I don't think any of us could imagine what was going on at the Richard Rodgers Theater that year that Hamilton came out, where they were like, closing down the street because mobs of people were just trying to watch Lin rap on the steps of the theater before the show started. Like, it was, and Obama was coming, and Jay-Z was coming, and, at the opening night of Hamilton, I can remember, to the immediate right of me was my ex-wife, but to the right of us was Busta Rhymes, to the left of us was Anna Wintour, behind us was Charlie Rose and Sally Field, and in front of us was Jake Gyllenhaal. And that was just the immediate, like, 4 seats around us.
Right.
And I remember thinking, like, what kind of cultural phenomenon can have all of these people in the same place? Like, Busta Rhymes and Anna Wintour with me in between them is sort of an interesting bingo card there. And it was that important of a thing. It was, you know, it was a huge deal. But then to finish the story, then in 2018, at the end of 2018, I was in New York visiting with these guys and having lunch with Tommy. And he said that original improv group was going to be coming back together to do a run in February. And he looked at me very simply and he said, you know, should we finish our movie? And I always knew that I had old footage of Lin Miranda and Chris Jackson and all these guys. Like, I knew I had it. I never intended to use it for anything. But when Tommy said, you know, we're getting back together for this run, should we finish our movie? It became a movie. And we filmed most of the shows in New York and redid interviews and then figured out what story we could tell.
Did you know you wanted to direct it right away? Like, or because at that point, from 2005, your career was very different than what it was in 2018, 2019. You had already done all this stuff. You're very busy, own your own company. So do you know, I'm going to direct this thing. I'm going to do it.
I didn't consider a different route, to be honest. Like, if the guys are going to be interviewed again, it's going to be me doing the interviews. And I really planned to spend that February in New York, that month that they did that run downtown. I knew I'd be there. I knew that if there was if we were going to be entering this very sacred place of live theater and live improvised theater where, like, they took your phones. Like, you weren't allowed to come into those shows with a cell phone.
I love that.
So it was a very safe, creative space. And it also made people engage differently. That was sort of the unintended benefit of it, where, like, you put your phone away, all of a sudden those first 10 minutes before the show starts is different. You know, you're connecting with people differently instead of just waiting for the lights to go down. But anyway, if we were going to be entering that safe a space, I knew that I was the person who could make it continue to feel safe for everybody. And our DP, Brian Fisher, had worked with Lin on a Hamilton doc that they did years before. And, you know, he was great as a part of that family. Serena Roma, who was our producer, was, you know, a trusted member of that. But it was, you know, it was sort of a group of like 5 of us making this out of the coat closet at the theater. So I never considered inviting another like director with a capital D to the family.
So before I actually ask the next question, this commenter by the name of Mark Ellis, I don't know if you've ever heard of him before. He says Andrew Freed and Bob Costas are BFFs. I bet Bob is just off camera. Tell Bob I said hi and ask if he has any notes on my Schmoedown announcing.
Hello, Bob. Nice. Good to have you here as always. I am not with Bob Costas.
Not today. Not right now.
But yeah, you know, my note for Ellis is always the same, which is, I don't know why you're yelling at me all the time.
Hey, Andrew, you know, I know you haven't done stand-up in a little bit, but I've got 45 minutes to spare. Hey, I'll do 3.
Yeah.
I'm whispering.
Yeah, it's a whisper. It's a Mark Ellis whisper. But
yeah, he's like the most generous screamer of all time. Anyway, so
I love that Mark Ellis. That's really, I thought I'd be talking to him today. But
it's tomorrow. It's tomorrow. He's coming on the show tomorrow, so you can check it out. You want to come back?
Can I call back in tomorrow?
Yeah, you can cancel out right now, and he can interview.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
But so you do this.
Like, so I understand they didn't like you at first.
We've dispelled that rumor now, after I've made it up. So anyway, so you look directing this thing and getting it out there. So
when are we starting? I just want to know when we're going to go live on this thing.
We'll be live in about a half an hour from now.
Okay.
Yeah. But when we
this is fun.
This is good.
Rehearsal.
This is good prep. Good prep. Well, wait, RB3. Before I move, you obviously being a huge Hamilton fan, I told you about this movie. You said I'm going to check it out. What were your overall thoughts, first of all, and second of all, any questions for Andrew?
Well, first of all, Andrew, I do want to say the movie was brilliant. I didn't know, just the same way, I didn't know anything really about Hamilton going into it when I first saw it. So this was my first time really learning about Lin Miranda. And watching this documentary gave me a whole different perspective, even like in the heist days. So this was really insightful and really informative. And I just love like the creative like ingenuity of like this like kind of improv comedy with hip hop. It's like the ultimate mixture of like, and I think there's even a reference to it in the documentary, like this kind of Coltrane practice of jazz, of like just totally being free and open. And I know you've done a lot of documentary projects as a producer and as a director. Do you find like in your work that you connect a lot to like the human experience and like the freeform experience, like through a lot of your work, or?
Well, it's a good question. First of all, thank you for saying such nice things about the doc. The reality is that my creative process has been very much informed by my proximity to these talented friends of mine's creative process. I mean, sitting, courtside for that In the Heights experience and seeing it go from being, sort of songs that they were singing to winning, 13 Tony nominations and then, winning the Tony for Best Musical, like, it definitely gave me a lot of confidence, but I also learned a lot from watching Tommy in particular, but watching all of them. And so I think the way I would answer your question is, as a storyteller, be it as a director, filmmaker, producer, what have you, but as a storyteller, I do try to honor what the thing is as you find it. It's so easy to have a preconceived idea of what something should be. Even, by the way, you guys are doing it every day on this, right? Like, if you in the morning when you're showering are sort of thinking of the thing that you're going to say that's going to be really clever when you get on the phone with, whoever, like, that's the line that's actually going to fail, right? It's the stuff that you come up with in real time where you're listening, you're responding, and you're sort of interacting with the thing in front of you in a creative way. And so I think that's the lesson that I've taken in terms of like what improv can be to what storytelling can be through filmmaking. I often think just when I forget that lesson, I'll go into like if I'm directing a Chef's Table episode or something like that. Like, you go in, you do the prep, you sort of know what the episode's going to be, but I always do an interview with the chef as my first, shot of the day, of day one. And then you do a 3-4 hour interview with the chef and you turn around to your team and you're like, okay, so everything we thought we were doing is sort of out the window, because she was talking about this other thing that is far more important to her than the articles that I've read. What you realize through secondary source material is it's been through a filter. An author who wrote the article about Dominique Crenn or Christina Tosi or Nancy Silverton has determined that this is the narrative that he or she is going to put forth for this chef. Then when you sit with them for a long period of time, you actually need to be open to respond to the story that she wants to tell, and then the story that she doesn't even realize she's telling. That's sort of. Well,
you mentioned when you mentioned. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
When you mentioned Chef's Table, by the way, it made me think immediately too, because when did you start producing that show?
That was, we started producing it in 2015, and then we started producing it in 2014. In March of 2014, we went into production, and then it released in April of 2015.
How do you do that show and then ever look at regular food normal ever again, especially after you've eaten all the really good stuff?
It's changed me, like I was a burgers and fries kind of guy, and still am in many ways, but it was hard for me, right? The first one that I directed was with Nikki Nakayama, who's the chef at Naka here in Los Angeles. And I remember thinking it was funny that like, oh yeah, this is fun, but I'm going to leave here and like, oh, the Burger King across the street, I'm going to pick up some Burger King on the way home because that's really what I want. And she was perfectly playful and, she's a friend at this point. And so she never was down on me about that. But I also realized at some point that, I'm the person who's telling their story, and their story is going to last forever. And I don't want them to think like, oh, I got the director who doesn't really like the food. Like, that's not that's not fair. And so I really tried to like immerse myself in it. And yeah, I've eaten some of the greatest meals in the world, and prepared for me and like placed on my table by some of the greatest chefs in the world. And by the way, if I send back the plate half full, the greatest chef in the world comes out and says, was there something wrong with your dish. And so I've had to go full on, and I love it. And it has changed me. It has changed my palate. And, you know, especially like I realize in this quarantine, as I'm sure we all do, like the things that we take for granted. Like there was at some point where I finally did go to a restaurant and sat outside and like ordered some caviar. And it was like, look at me. I fucking miss caviar.
Right.
Like, who would have ever thought?
And no shit.
You know,
Right? Yeah.
but like, there was something about drinking wine and eating caviar outside in a parking lot on Wilshire that sort of felt like the south of France to me. And it was when I was there for it.
But again, you've been able to do, because I mean, for people who don't know, I mean, your road has been very different. When I met you, you know, you and I met through mutual friends, and then we started doing stand up together. And that was you were a stand up comedian. You were acting. What was the line in what's it, Sin City?
Spin City.
Spin City. What was the line in Spin City?
I said, sorry, hold on.
Big monologue.
Morning, Carlos.
And he said it to Charlie Sheen, and it was like we were so excited. We watched that scene so many times. It was amazing. But by the way, Charlie Sheen's first episode of Spin City, replacing Michael J. Fox, the first episode of that show that was filmed in LA, a pretty like significant day as I think back on that experience. Like it was cool. Yeah.
Cool. Gary David Goldberg was there that day.
Of course.
Very hands-on, and it was cool.
Yeah, it was, so you're out, then you obviously going through producing, and that's not too far off though from when you were shooting these guys in New York, because that's only like what, 2001, 2002, something like that. So then you go to New York. Go back to New York and start doing all this stuff. And anyway, but I do have to ask you about, I want to get, for those out there who don't know and are just tuning in, we're here with director and producer Andrew Freed, and we're talking about We Are Freestyle Love Supreme. It's on Hulu right now. The other question that I do have for you, Andrew, though, is when it comes, I mean, obviously all of these guys are talented. There's no doubt about it. They're all very successful. They've all been doing a lot of different things. But like, there's a particular shot, and I mentioned this to you on the phone, where you're introducing the guys through old footage, and then from across the street, here comes running towards us is Lin-Manuel Miranda, right? And it's like, it was such a great shot of this, like, this is the Jim Morrison of the band, you know, this is the guy. And did you know that as you were filming them in 2005, or did it seem like all these guys are super talented, but the guy is like labeled a genius, you know, everything that he's done? I mean, anyway, did you notice right away?
I would be lying if I said that I knew that Lin Miranda was going to eventually become like one of the greatest creative voices of our generation. Like he is, right? I mean, the guy wrote Hamilton and wrote half the songs that your kids sing. You just don't
every day in Moana, every day,
and more to come, right? Like he's just getting started.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I didn't know that. I did feel like this group of performers had something really special about them, and each of them had their own sort of thing. But when it comes to Lin in particular, when I saw that in the Heights reading, it became very clear to me that my friend Lin, who has particular passions and like hardcore in the way that you guys are, right? Like he is no less a fanboy than you or your listeners or anybody else who is passionate about, you know, something that they love. And his passions are musical theater, Latin music, and hip hop, and other things, and like playing Nintendo and a whole lot of other things that he could tell you about. But like when I saw In the Heights, I realized that the fusion of those three passions in particular were very elegantly expressed on stage, and that through that he was creating a new language. And I knew that he would be able to tap into people who also share those he's not the only guy to love musical theater and hip hop, right? But he was the first one to say, okay, now come into my party, come into this tent and hear what I'm creating. And it's a little bit of a different language. If you hear like how rap happened in theater, there was always a spoken word thing in theater where people would talk over music, and right. You know, the Music Man sort of has a little bit of that. But Lin, I think, was among the first people to really rap in a way that like pays tribute to great MCs. You know, Lin loves Big Pun, and Lin loves like pretty like authentic, real hip hop. And then though, and especially RB3, if you're a fan of Hamilton, you could attest to this. Like, it's not a hip hop musical. It has some hip hop in it, and it has characters from a hip hop universe. But the songs itself are, in many cases, pretty. They're lyrically dense. But if you looked at the music of them, they're pretty loyal to like a very traditional music, musical theater world.
Yeah, a lot of show tunes and a lot of mixtures of, it's not just hip hop. It's a little R&B, it's a little jazz, it's a little of a lot of things, but it overall fits into the musical and the theater kind of aesthetic.
So the blue-haired ladies, are digging it right alongside the sort of young beatboxers, and so. That I knew his ability to connect with different audiences was something special.
Real quick before I ask you this other question about Sundance, so one of our Schmoedown competitors, Rachel Silvestrini, she's a big theater person also, and she said she could talk to you for hours on theater. Would love to know your favorite non-Lin musical.
I have a very special connection to Fiddler on the Roof, for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
But, in all honesty, and I never am asked that question, and I love that question because nobody really cares, but I always loved Guys and Dolls. Like, I actually...
Yeah.
I think Guys and Dolls... Thanks, man.
That's a good old musical. That's one of my favorites.
It's a good old musical, and I can listen to sort of either the Sinatra versions of it or the Nathan Lane versions of it, but I remember seeing... I grew up an hour outside of the city. I was fortunate enough to go to a lot of Broadway shows, but I remember seeing Guys and Dolls in high school with Nathan Lane and Peter Gallagher, I think. And I loved it. I loved that one. And I would go see it tomorrow if we were allowed in theaters and it was, up.
Awesome. All right. So so you debuted your movie.
That's a question.
She's great. So you debuted the movie this year before the world went crazy, and so I would assume, correct me if I'm wrong, when it came to Hulu, because they knew that Disney Plus was airing Hamilton, that this is a great because of the relationship, obviously, that Disney owns Hulu, and the combination of, hey, look, this is a great piece to have. Now we have Hamilton, and now we can have this thing on Hulu. Is that how it kind of all went down, or not really?
We premiered at Sundance. It was a huge success. It was an amazing experience. We did not know it was going to be like The Last Dance before The Last Dance, but like we didn't know the world was going to shut down. And so it's such a gift to realize that we had that. I'll tell this story. It's a little bit out of school, but I'll tell it because I think your audience will dig it, which is we were having conversations with different distributors. I think Disney Plus had come back and said that explicitly it probably wasn't for them because of some of the language involved. It was just, not for their audience necessarily. Hamilton was supposed to be released in theaters at a much later time. It was never supposed to be on Disney Plus in the summer. The Hollywood Reporter wrote a review of the film that after Sundance that sort of talked about it more as like a prequel to Hamilton. And talked about it as this continuum of storytelling of like the Hamilton story. And as I understand it, Bob Iger reached out to Tommy Kail and said, I need to see this movie. And we set up a screening for him on the lot on a Saturday.
Awesome.
And then he texted on a Monday saying, I love it. We're going to figure this out. And then the next day he retired.
Oh, no.
And it was like, oh, fuck.
Yeah.
But it, Belisa Balaban at Hulu has always been a friend of Freestyle. She actually was at Pivot when they did their TV series there, and so it's been a wonderful relationship with them. And then culminating in that joint spot with Hamilton and We Are Freestyle Love Supreme. It's it's obviously a synergy. Lin is bigger at Disney these days than Mickey Mouse, I think.
Yeah.
So it's been a cool ride.
Well, you guys can experience the ride if you go on over to Hulu, and it's We Are Freestyle Love Supreme. It is directed by Andrew Freed, produced by Andrew Freed, and also check out all of his other stuff that he's doing. You got Last Chance You got Chef's Table. What else, Andrew? What else could they check out?
Just real quick, Andrew, I thought you were coming on to tell us we're getting the sketch group back together, and you were gonna like.
Frogs is good. It's called.
I'm here for it. I'm here for it, man. You, me, Dane Cloner. Was that his name? Dane Cloner?
Yeah, Dane Cloner. You remember? We won't have to mention the one guy's name, but do you remember, Andrew, that the one guy that every time he came out, he pretended he was smoking a cigar? Like,
well, here we are at the beach. Here we are playing Monopoly.
Every time, no matter what it was, Andrew and I would be just crying, laughing. Anybody got some ice cream?
I'm really enjoying being in this plane right now.
Is this your baby?
But you know, Heather Campbell was in that group too. She's an incredibly prolific, creative person, and I'm sure other people. But yeah, I'm here for it. I'm available.
We'll do it. It's called Frogs. Frogs is good. Frogs is good. All right, Andrew. But is there anything else that they should check out?
Yeah, so you know, Street Food is on Netflix. Cheer obviously is on Netflix. The Goop Lab, Chef's Table. We have Home Game is on Netflix, but we also just announced yesterday there's more Chef's Table coming out. Chef's Table Barbecue is a new season hitting Netflix. I hope people will find that. And then our new show, The Playbook, which we're producing with LeBron James and Spring Hill Entertainment and Delirio Films. And yeah, there's a lot of good stuff.
All right, well, there's way more stuff that we should have you on to talk about for sure, whether it's Chef's Table or any of this stuff. So
I'll come back every week. I'd love to have a regular standing appointment.
I'm gonna hold you to that.
I've got Luna Park footage too. If we want to drop some of that,
we actually should like react.
Can I see that, please?
Yeah.
I need to see all that Luna Park footage.
How funny would that be to watch old Luna Park? I think we'd probably have to screen it first.
God.
I'll screen it.
It'd be really funny to watch.
I've got like Chelsea Handler too. You remember I had
Sarah Silverman.
I filmed everyone. You know, that was my racket.
Andrew, a pleasure having you on here today. Thank you. Let's do it again very soon. Same here. And for you guys, hey, thank you to James Raiz for joining us today on the show. Thanks to Andrew Freed, Mark Reilly, RB3, and of course, Brett Sheridan. Tomorrow, Mark Ellis is going to be on the show, and guess what? I am not. John Roca will be on. It'll be Roca and Ellis and the rest of the crew for sure. So join us. Come on, come all. And see you tomorrow.